She's now an advocate against domestic violence, hoping to create a home for victims here in Pensacola.
And when I turned back around, a shotgun was facing me and he shot me.
Williams was shot in the stomach, killing her unborn baby she had named Jamie.
She saved my life. You're not alone. You're not alone. And if I came out, you can come out.
Well, good evening, y'all. It is the last weekend, the last Thursday of the month, where we have my very special, beautiful guest, Mrs. Carolyn Williams, and we have No More Silence. Good evening, Caroline. How are you?
You better say Carolyn.
Caroline. What did I call you? Caroline?
You could say Caroline.
No, okay.
Most people say that anyway, so you're okay.
I know.
I know.
I know. That's what Mr. Hill called you.
You're right. You're right. He did. Yeah. I am doing well, Verna. How are you doing?
Nothing to complain about, sugar. Nothing to complain about. Had a good month and everything, and I know you probably had a good month as well. So nothing catastrophic. It was the month of May, and we didn't do I didn't do nothing exciting to me. We had Mother's Day. I did go home. I went to Burnt Corn, Alabama to visit my mother's grave.
Okay.
And on Mother's Day. But other than that, nothing else that I could report that that I did that was exciting, Caroline.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right. All right. Welcome to No More Silence, and I thank you for tuning in. If you're listening to the broadcast, please share. You could it's being aired on WBQP TV and also on WBQPT YouTube. So share the video. You never
And
know
Facebook.
and Facebook. You never know the information that someone may need that wants to get out of abusive relationship. So are you ready to begin, Vernon?
Eyes ready.
Okay. Most of you that has been tuning in, you know that I got shot in 1974, was in an abusive relationship, and I was pregnant. And so on May the 25th of this year, Jamie would have been 47 years old.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So that happened 47 years ago. But sometime, Verna, it seems like it was just yesterday sometime.
Mm-hmm.
But she would have been 47 years old. And so some of the people they know that, this is not a story about weakness. This is a story about survival in the world that gave me no safe doors to walk through. I didn't have no safe doors to walk through. So this is how I was able to survive. So we know that I was 7 months pregnant, and I was in school, and I was raising 3 children. And he did threaten me and tell me that if I leave him, he would kill me. So that described, isolation. My mother, I didn't have support from my mother. So that was a lack of support. So I believe having a baby would stop the beating. And I hear many women say that, Verna. They say, okay, if I get pregnant by my abuser, that it will stop the beating because what's happening during that time, Bernard, you want it to stop. So you're willing to do whatever you need to do for it to stop, but it did not stop it. It didn't stop it. So I'm in therapy right now. And the reason why I'm in therapy right now, because after 47 years, I've been in therapy now, probably about 3 months. After 47 years, I did not deal with it because I had three other children that I needed to take care of. So I never went through the grieving, I never dealt with it. So now I'm in therapy and getting the help I need. So I want to tell someone this. And also, I am a woman of God. So I'm taking, the word of God and therapy to be able to help me. So I want to tell someone that if you're going through something, and it's nothing wrong with getting therapy. So I realized that they told me that I was dealing with PTSD because I never dealt with it. So now I'm in therapy where I can be able to deal with it. And so people ask me, because during that time, and when I shared this, that, after he shot me and I was in the hospital, I tell people that I went back. So people ask me, why did you go back? Why did you feel like you need to go back after he shot you, after he killed your baby? Why did you go back? And I know so many women, they do go back. And it says it takes 7 times for a woman to actually not go back. So the reason I want you to know why I went back, and why most women, they go back, because they fear of being killed. And that's they do it to resort to survival, that to stay, survivor to stay, because he has already threatened them, Vernon, that if they leave, he is going to kill them. And that's what he told me. And the abuser create a dependence, emotional, financial, spiritual, and physical. And also, it's that trauma bond. It makes the brain cling to the moment to calm. So, and also, I had 3 children that I had to protect and keep safety. And believe it or not, you believe his apology. He told me that he was sorry and that he would stop the violence and he would not do this again. So most people, what they do, Vernon, they believe this. They believe this. This is the way that they're able to be safety, because they believe what they're saying. It's not that they're stupid. It's not that they're dumb. It's because when you're in that position, what you're trying to do is you're trying to stay safe.
Yeah.
And so protecting my children was the greatest thing I had to do for myself, was to protect them. And so, and then you fear of losing your children, because if the Department of Children Families find out, you're going to lose your children. And so, and also you fear he would kill you if you told the truth. If you tell the truth to the Department of Children Families, or anyone. And if you were taught to keep the family secret, because I grew up in a home where you never explain, you never talk about what goes in the home. What goes on in the home, it stays in the home. And so you believe his lies, because believing them felt safe than facing the truth. Believe, I want you to really hear that. Believe in him felt safe than telling the truth. And also, I was in shock because he shot me. I was in shock. Never took the time to really grieve. I was just in shock that even happened to me. And when you're in shock, Vernon, you don't even realize the truth. All you realize is what has happened to you. And it caused shock and trauma.
Carolyn, I was telling your story to somebody just today, and I was telling them your ordeal. I didn't know it happened 47 years ago. And I
Yeah,
didn't know you only look 47.
I
But
know.
anyway,
Thank you.
but anyway, and I said she said that she went back. I said she said that she went back immediately out of the hospital, and they couldn't
Hmm.
understand why you would do that and why you protected him, why you didn't as well. Well, didn't the cops? What did the cops do? Didn't they? I said, well, I think she covered for him and so on. It was an accident. Tell them your story, if you will, so people can understand what you did, why you did it, and and that other folks that might not go down the same road that you went down because that false expectation, that false hope of things that's going to get better when they start crying and sobbing and I'm sorry, and then put the guilt trip on you and make you feel guilty like you caused it to happen to yourself, stuff like that.
Well, Vernon, the thing about it is, when you're in that position, um, all you're thinking about during that time is safety. And even if you have your children, you're thinking about safety. So it's
Yeah,
easy for you to believe what they're telling you than to believe the truth. Even
right.
though you know that your life is in danger, what you're trying to do is protect your children. If you have children, you're trying to protect them. And so you really convince yourself that, he's not going to do this. You don't think that he's going to do it. You think that he's just talking and not knowing that all along, this is what he's planning to do. So I tell every woman and man that if he tell you or she tell you she's going to kill you, they're going to do it. And I think what happens, Vernon, is because it doesn't take place right away. They speak it, then they are planning it. So because it didn't happen, because he told me that, and it didn't happen until 6 years, no, not 6 months later, when I decided to leave. And so, and when they're saying that they're sorry and they didn't, I'm going to straighten up and I'm not going to do that. You got to realize that's where that trauma bond come in.
Mm-hmm.
And you are so connected to them that you believe what they're saying. You
Mm-hmm.
don't even, what happens, Vernon, what I learned is that you don't even realize what's happening to you. You don't even realize what it's doing to you. You don't even realize how it's tearing you down. You don't even realize what it's doing to you because you're trying to protect your abuser.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're trying to protect them. You don't think about yourself. You do think about your children, about protecting your children, but you side with the abuser. And because, he does that, I mean, they are so good manipulating you that with those crocodile tears and with those promises that they can never fulfill. If they tell you they're never going to do it again, it might last for 2 weeks, but it's going to be back again. So, and you not only that is, I survived what was meant to destroy me. And what happened is, the way I was able to survive that was, it's not that, I was crazy. It was a way of me of surviving. It's were not that I was weak. It was that I was protecting my children. It wasn't even that I was blind. I knew what was going on. But you have to realize I was traumatized. I was going through trauma. And in order you need to heal enough to speak the truth. I was not able to speak the truth until I found out I was partially healed. I thought I was completely healed, but I was healed enough to share my story, to speak the truth. So Jamie's life, though it was short, It had purpose, and now it has a voice.
Oh, that's an amazing story, Carolyn. And what seems to be more amazing about it, is that you in counseling 47 years later, that you're still in counseling. So it's a issue that never goes away, and people need to understand that if you find yourself a victim of this, get help. Get help for yourself. Okay. And that's another problem. One of the problems that we find with domestic violence, Carolyn, that you're trying to, because it perpetuates itself because people do not speak out about it.
Yeah.
And when you say no more silence, and it's the same way with is when people don't tell other folks, then they kind of encourage it to go on. And the same thing when you fail to get counseling or get help, or you in denial, that when you go through some trauma like that, and how can you not be traumatized in an abusive relationship is beyond. I mean, you're always going to be trauma. So you need to seek professional help. And I think sometimes that counseling in our community has somewhat a stigma associated with it, Carolyn, because people think that just because you're seeking counsel, something mentally wrong with it. Well,
Yeah.
you're crazy. In other words, they
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
you're
You
crazy.
crazy.
No,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
you're not
Yeah.
crazy. You just
Yeah.
what people
Yeah.
don't understand about mental illness. They
Mm-hmm.
understand physical illnesses,
Yeah.
but they don't understand mental illness because it's invisible. And
Yeah.
it's okay to seek help. If you broke your leg, you're gonna go get it fixed on a cast. If
That
your
is
tooth
so
is hurting,
true.
you're gonna go get it pulled, right?
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
same thing internally that we have to deal with when those issues occur. Don't ignore it, because your mental health is just as important as your physical health.
Yeah, and I'm just thankful to God that I had a doctor. I have a doctor that I can sit down and talk to him about anything. And what he did was he referred me to go and get counseling. And not only that, the only child that I have here now, most of my children, all of the rest of my children, they live out of town. But my daughter Nancy, I just thank God for her and how she's helping me along in this journey. And speaking up, being an advocate as far as what the doctor should give me and what they shouldn't give me. But my doctor, he said, I understand. He said, he was in the Navy. And he said he sees so many men and women that come through, and they don't want to admit that they're going through trauma. They don't want to admit this because they don't want anyone to think that they are crazy or
Yeah.
something is wrong with them. But I realized that even being a woman of God, and I suppressed that for so long that I can use counseling and I can use the word of God. And now you have so many Christian counselors, because that's what I'm going to the school for, to be a Christian counselor in traumanology. And Vernon, I have probably about less than a year before I finish up. And the reason why I'm doing this because I want to understand trauma, and I want to be able to help others that are going through that, women that are going through trauma. And I truly believe this is how God works in my life, is he allowed me to go through something because he know that I'm going to use my story, not be ashamed, not be afraid, to help someone else.
Right. Carolyn, another untold story, another elephant in the room, if you will, that we don't talk about, is also the children of abused folks. They're suffering the same thing. You get these children witnessing all of this abuse. It certainly has to have an impact on them as well. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, Brennan, when I used to be a teacher and now, I sub whenever I want to. And what I learned through all of this, even with my own children, what I learned about this was trauma and the ACEs score that they do for children that are, dealing with trauma as well as adults. So you
Mm-hmm.
can take the ACEs score and it will tell you whether or not you're dealing with trauma. But what I realize is this, that when while I'm serving and I walk in the classroom, and it breaks my heart because I see that child that is sitting all alone and the child is facing the wall, not having any interaction with the rest of the class. So, in other words, this child is misbehaving. So, what we do, what teachers do, and what other people do is they put a label on that child and not realizing that the child is going through this because of trauma. And we can do something that will trigger that trauma. And so my oldest daughter, she did go and get counseling because she asked to go and get counseling because you got to realize that happened in 1974. I didn't have the knowledge of about counseling. I didn't have the knowledge about trauma. I don't even know if trauma it wasn't being said, talked about as far as trauma, but it has effect on your children. It traumatizes your children to be able to see what is going on. And so many times what happens is you don't, when you're in that situation, it's hard for you to see what it's doing to the children because you're so busy trying to protect yourself and the children, and you don't realize why they're acting up, while they're doing what they're doing, is because of the trauma.
Mm.
And Berna, I want to say something that happened to me, and I shared this with my therapist, and it was probably about two weeks ago. And what was I was going through, and she didn't even know that. She knew that I was going through because I shared with her about the guilt. I shared with her about the shame, which I had never felt that before. And I asked, I said, why am I feeling this now? She said, because you're going through therapy and all this is coming out now. But about 2 weeks ago, before 2 weeks ago, I had been thinking about, and I didn't share it with my therapist, and I was thinking about, why? Why did he shoot me? Why did he kill our baby? And I hadn't seen him probably had been probably 15 or 20 years since I had saw him. So when I asked him why, it was like something broke inside of me. I was no longer had to carry what I was living with. And so when I was going on this journey and I wanted to know why, I had no clue. Vernon, listen to this. I had no clue where to find him to ask him.
Really?
Because the house, I went by the house that he used to stay in and it was burnt down. So I knew he wasn't there. I didn't know where he lived. I didn't know where he would be. And I was just driving along. And the Lord knew that I was thinking about this. And he told me, he said, go and ask. And I'm like, go and ask him. I don't even know where he's at. But Bern, I want to tell you, the Lord led me to where he was. I
Really?
saw his truck. Listen to this, Vernon. I saw his truck, but he wasn't in the truck. But when I got ready to drive off, he drove up. He was with somebody else. So what happened is I needed to break the silence that I had been carrying for so long. I need to hear him say something even if it wasn't the truth. I needed that. And also, I needed to reclaim my story from the lies, because every time I did this, I was always protecting him. I wouldn't say his name. I wouldn't say the last name of the baby. I was so busy trying to protect him. And I needed to grieve Jamie without shame. And I needed to have closure. I needed to have closure and to move on. So I asked him, I said, why did you shoot me? Why did you kill our baby? Why? And he told me this, because he had been in the hospital and he had a sling on one of his arm, his right arm, the one that he used. And so he said that this is what he told me. He said that it was a mistake. He said, I didn't mean to shoot you. He said it was really a mistake, because I had that sling and in my arm, and it was really a mistake. I didn't mean to pull the trigger. And so when he said that, I didn't want to get into it with him. I just wanted to hear what he had to say. And Vernon, when I drove off from seeing him, I said, you know what? While I was sitting there, and after I drove off, Vernon, it was something, I can't explain it. It was like something came up out of me, and I felt like I was free. Now I understand the lie that I had been carrying, the lie that was in my bones, the lie that was in my spirit, Vernon. It was no longer there. It was being released. And so I was talking to my therapist, and I didn't want to share it with her, because I thought, I knew she was going to say, you shouldn't have did that, but anyway, I shared it with her. She said, well, how did you know where he was? And I said, the Lord led me. So she didn't understand that. She kept asking me that. So I told her about 3 times the Lord led me. And I told her, I said, what happened is I'm free. I'm free. I don't have to live with the lie anymore. I am free. I don't have to say anymore that I thought that he didn't mean to do it. I'm free. I know the truth, because if you wasn't planning on killing me, why did you go get the gun?
Right.
Why did you get the gun? The gun was in the other room. You went to get the gun. And I know that if a person pull a gun on you, it is meant to kill you. But it's okay, because I'm free, Vernon. And guess what? It's him that has to live with the lie. I don't have to live with the lie anymore. I know the truth. You meant to do it. And I am completely true as far as that is concerned.
Absolutely. Carolyn, your story is really, really is really compelling, and it's a story that a lot of people need to hear about your experience and why did you do what you did. And I hope they understand that they're probably going through the same thing that you're going through.
Yeah.
One of the things I hear you saying a lot, we're going to go a little bit longer tonight, okay?
Okay.
If you don't mind.
Oh, I don't mind.
Because this is important.
Okay.
The thing that people don't understand about the situation, I think some people think, well, they crave to stay into it. Well, you consciously know what you need to do and what you got to do. But and I hear you say this so many times, and I need you to reemphasize it to anybody that's in this situation that's listening. The reason you don't do what you're doing is because you don't have a plan.
Yeah.
Tell them about you need to plan it out. You do not need to do anything on the fly, because the dangerous, what you always say this, how you say this a lot, and it's so true. And you were talking about what happened. We were talking about happened in May, domestic violently in May. It was horrible. It
No,
was
it was
horrible
April, the month of
in April.
April.
Yeah, April
April,
through
it
May.
was,
Yeah,
yeah, it was
yeah,
yeah, the month of April.
April.
You
Yeah,
had so many women being killed, not only women, but children.
right.
It was
Exactly.
so, it was,
Horrendous. Horrendous.
yeah, you
But
have so many YouTubers. They're talking about it now. As
mhm,
before they was not talking about it, but they see where it's not anything that is new. It's been going on. But I think when those 8 children, when that father killed
yes.
those 8 children, it brought a lot to light. Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And
And that's what I'm saying.
go ahead.
Continue. No, no, you continue.
He had promised, he had told her that if she left him, that he was going to kill her. And he didn't do it right away. But when he got those divorce papers, that's when he took action. And that's when he killed the children, shot her, shot the other woman that had the kids. And so what happened is she should have had her a plan. She should have had a plan that he would not be served those papers until she had left. She should not have been on Facebook. She should have been getting her some clothes together, putting them up under the house, giving them. It was family members that knew what was going on, so she could have took those clothes and packed her bag and had the clothes and everything at that house. And she should have had the children birth certificate. She should have had the social security cards, her marriage license, all this, the children immunization, all this documentation, because she was going to have to enroll the kids in school. So she should have had all this documentation, had it all together. Okay, I don't had it all together. So when she planned on leaving, that she had everything. She need to have a plan that, who you're going to contact, you need to have someone that you can actually share what you're going through, even if you're not ready to leave. They
Yeah.
need to know, so in case you're ready to go. You need to have a code for the children. You might say cat when you're arguing. You make me feel like a cat where I can't, whatever. Or you make me feel like a dog or whatever. But it will
Mhm.
be a signal to the children that they need to contact someone, that they
Right.
need to go next door. Let your neighbors know what's going on. So when they hear a lot of argument that's going on, or they hear loud noises, they can call the police. The police would never say who called, and maybe it's not a domestic violence, but at least you can be able to call someone, and if it's not, let the police decide whether or not it is domestic violence or whether or not it is. So it's very important, because I didn't know this. The information that I know now, I didn't know then. I don't even think, Brenda, I don't even think they had Favor House around when I was going through it, because she got shot in 79 and I married him in 74.
Mhm.
No, yeah, oh, no, it was 70, no, 76. It's when I married him. So I don't even think that it was around during that time. So let me see, 70, yeah, close to that or whatever. But anyway, that's why the information that I know now, I'm trying to help others. And please, 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 do not judge the victim,
Right.
because I realized that, Vernon, I would go to my friend's house. I was going to school. I was just hoping someone would say something when they saw the black eye. I
Right.
was I was just hoping they would say something, and nobody did that. So what I want to say is this, is that because people judge and they say, well, I wouldn't do this. Why did she stay? Why is this? Trauma, trauma. I would never do anything like that. Yeah, I said the same thing. And you got to realize that it's not just physical abuse. If you have someone in your life and they're cheating on you and they're with somebody else, that is emotional abuse. So we look at it always as being physical abuse, but emotional abuse is really worse than physical abuse.
Yeah, because it's invisible, and people don't think a lot about it. Carolyn, talk to them about the resources that is available for some women out there. Okay, because
Okay.
they don't realize, and you told me, I mean, we've been doing this show for a couple of years now, and you told me a lot of the resources is available, and that they can go to shelters, they can do many things that they may and they may not. Like in your case, you probably wasn't even aware of any of those resources available, and still
Yeah.
some people may not be aware of it. So go over to some of those resources that's available to an individual. First of all, if one thinking about leaving, okay, in addition to, like you said, the first thing you need to do is make you some kind of a plan.
Yeah.
But when the rubber hit the road, who should they contact? Who the first person that they should contact if they decided that things got too hot to stay, or they decided to make the move but they don't know where they're gonna go?
So if
What
you
should they do?
if you're really planning on making that move and it gets too much violence or you feel like your life is in jeopardy, you need to call the police. You need to call. Now, I'm not saying call and then you drop the charges or you side with him. If you really know that this is it and you're at that final point where this is it and you want to leave, call law enforcement. Because what they would do is they would come out, do an assessment, and they will help you to get to a shelter. They will help you to get to Favor House. But let's say, it hasn't gotten to that point, but you're at the point where you're tired of it and you know you need to make a change before it get to that point. You can pick up the phone and you call Favor House. That's 850-434-1177. And just call them and say, you know what? I'm in a domestic violence relationship. And I realize that it's not going to get any better. Can you give me some information on what I need to do? They will give you the information because information is powerful.
Yep.
If you don't know it, then it's not powerful. But once you get that information and say, Berta, you're going through something, your mind has the tendency to take you back to the information that you receive, and it will help you to get out. Now, Favor House is a safe place. He would not know where it's located. They would come, you would meet them somewhere, and they would pick you up. And you would be able, when you're in Favor House, you would get all the resources you need. The same as in Jamie's house. I have a place that's there just for a woman and her family. And so the resources that is available and that our president is trying to stop is that it's called for victims of domestic violence. And so there is funds available that say you feel like, okay, I need to relocate. My family is in Tampa. I had a young lady that was there and her family was in Tampa, and you want to relocate. There is $1,000 available to help you to relocate. Okay. If you're able to get food stamps, you're able to get a check. And what happens, you're able to get child care. And it's not like you go on a waiting list like all the other families have to go on a waiting list for child care, because I used to have a child care. You don't get to go on the waiting list. You go, your name move up, and you're able to get that child care right away. You're able to get whatever you need right away. And one other thing that I found out is this. Say you are renting from Vernon. Vernon is your landlord, and you're in a domestic violence relationship. And Vernon want to put you out. He can't. He can't put you out because you're in a domestic violence relationship. He can't put you out for that. So you would be able to continue to stay there. But what I want to say is this, is that with me, I don't think you should, because he know where you're at. So I think that you need to go into a shelter where they're not able to find you. You can also go on your job and you can tell your boss what you're going through. And so you will be able to take leave if that's what you're going through. So it is so many resources that is out there. And I think that's what happens, Vernon, is that the person realize, I'm not going to have any finance. I'm not going to be able to make it with the children. I'd rather do that. And I didn't know this till later on. I found out later on that if you're in a domestic violence relationship, the state can come in and take your children.
Oh.
And the state can come in and take the children. And you don't want that to happen. So you need to get your plan. You need to call Favor House 850-434-1177. Either you can call Jamie's house, which is 850-291-4624. And they also have a national domestic violence hotline, which is 1-800-799-7233. And you also need to have someone that's in your family or a friend that if you need to go there, that they will allow you to go there.
Right.
You understand what you said? Because when you're going through this, Bernie, you feel like you are all alone. And that's why you don't say anything. You think that nobody understands. You already know what they're going to say about you. So the shame, the guilt, it doesn't bring you out. It keeps you there. But you have to know that you need to be able to empower yourself. And when you pick up the phone to make that phone call, that is what you are doing. You are empowering yourself. So whoever is abusing you is losing that control. And if I would have known, Vernon, that I'm not gonna say that it was easy what I had to go through once I got out, but it was worth it. It saved my life. And I never knew that, Vernon, I would be in the place I am now. I never believed that I would have what I have now. Because see, that wasn't the first abusive relationship. That was number 3. That was number 3. That was number 3.
Okay, but Carol, that's an important point to make. And that's how severe these situations are, because you're a victim. You're a victim. And you're going from one abusive relationship to another abusive relationship. And then people will try to judge you from that. But don't judge that, because what you just said earlier, why those things happen, because of trauma.
Yeah.
Explain to folks why is that never why would you go from one abusive relationship to another, so they'll understand that when they do the same thing, and maybe may not make the same they may not make the same mistake that you made. So you went from number 1 to number 2 to number 3, and finally something shook into you. But kind of explain to them the things that in your psyche as you went from 1 to 2 to 3 in those kind of relationships that caused cause you to do that without people trying to judge, people trying to judge you and say she crazy. She should have had enough of number one. It's not that easy. Not that easy at all. Explain to them why.
Well, Vernon, it's like this: is that you have some women that say, I will never love again because I've been through that, and so they go through life never having a companion or never getting married. But with you in a domestic violence relationship, you have to realize is that it's in you, and what's in you is what you're going to attract. So you attract someone that is abusive. And you always thinking that, okay, this might be the one. Right. Because you have to realize it doesn't start off that way. It doesn't start off that way where the person is abusing you.
That's the point I want you to make. Okay.
Yeah.
This wolf that comes in sheep clothing is what I want you to tell these folks about the wolf that's in these sheep clothing.
Yeah. And so it doesn't start off that way. And we as women we have a tendency to tell the person that is going to abuse us, we have the tendency to tell them what we was in before. And the reason why we tell them that is we're telling that because we're hoping that they don't do the same thing. But you don't realize that you're talking to another abuser and you're giving him the information that he needs so that he doesn't display or he don't show you who he really is or show you who she really is. So they listen to all this and they take what you tell them to manipulate you, to tell you, I'm not like that. He wasn't a man, but I'm a good man. I would never do that to a woman. And I realize you have kids, and guess what? I love kids. I would never harm kids. So what you're doing is you're soaking that in. You're thinking that this is the one. And then not only that, they would take you out to dinner. They would wine and dine you. They would even buy you clothes. I remember in one relationship I was in, Vernon, I think this was the second one. And he was so well known. And I didn't know it was controlled during the time. I thought that, okay, I'm important. Because when I would go out, listen to this, Vernon. When I would go out, I used to go to the Bunny Club or either the Elks. He would have someone there like they was protecting me. And I thought that I was important. I didn't know that the person was there to spy on me, to go back. He was paying them to tell him everything that I was doing. I didn't know that was control. I'm thinking I'm very special. I said, you know what? I'm like the president's wife. I got a bodyguard.
Me.
But that's what happens. And I didn't know that. I say he loved me so much. And the guy would sit there and he would watch me. And then finally it started clicking because he wouldn't say everything. He would just say enough. And when he would say, you was dancing real close with, he knew the guy, with this guy and this and that. And I'm like, how did he know this? Mm-hmm. How? And so I would say, you know what? I don't need anybody to go out with me this week to watch over. I think I'll be fine. And that's when all hell broke loose. Oh, you ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. You can't go nowhere. If he can't go and watch, you ain't going nowhere. And so it wasn't physical abuse. This time it was emotional abuse. But check this out, Vernon. The first two was emotional abuse. Okay. The third one was physical abuse. So because I didn't get healed from the emotional abuse, What
Right.
I took into that relationship,
Right.
emotional abuse and physical abuse. So during that time, I wasn't used to physical abuse, but I was used to emotional abuse. So what I'm saying is this: if you don't get out of it, if you don't go and seek and get help, it will become like a pattern. And that's when I learned so much to say, you know what? I'm no longer going to blame the person because I am the common denominator. And that's going to lead, this show right here is going to lead us into our, what we're going to have coming on in June. I have someone that work in the mental health, and she's going to come be on our show in June, and she's going to explain a lot of things for us.
Okay. Wow. All right. We only got about 5 more minutes, Carolyn. So you can kind of sum it up in terms of
Okay.
the resources that's available, the plan they need to make, the contacts they need to make. Let somebody know. After all, the show is called what?
No more
No more
silence.
silence. Right. That that just that's what can get you killed. Silence. Don't be silent anymore because that's what's empowering. That's what fuels the abuse
Yeah.
because nobody, when you when you tell your family that you walked into a door knock because you got a black eye and they don't tell you you should lower that doorknob, something's wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You should you should not be ashamed to let somebody in your family, your family, your friends, or somebody know what is going on. I know
Yeah.
fear is a powerful agent, and I know
Yeah.
people would fear that if he find out that I'm talking to, could happen. And you know another thing, Carolyn, too,
Uh-huh.
that what women go through that people sometimes don't understand, and what men use to manipulate women with, and the reason they don't call the police and so forth, because if you call the police, you get put in jail, and I'll lose my job and all this other. You sympathizing with them. That what they call it when they what they there's a um syndrome they call it Stockholm syndrome. People
Yeah,
get
Stockholm
Stockholm
syndrome.
syndrome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so
And then what
you
happens, Vernon, when they're in jail, they're calling you and convincing you that you're not going to do it again. But you got to realize the only reason why they're doing that is because they don't want to go to jail. And
right.
you don't press charges against them and you don't do anything. And what happens is when they get out,
Yep.
what they started, they're going to finish it. And so as we get ready to wrap this up, and this show is No More Silence, but I see a lot of women, you are talking about it, but you're talking about it in the wrong places.
Mm-hmm.
You're going on Facebook talking about it.
Stay off
You're
the
going
social
on
media.
Instagram talking about it. And that is very dangerous. You don't need to get on there and talk about it just to get some clicks. Because what you're doing is you are putting your life in danger. If you have children, you are putting your children's life in danger. You don't need to let the person that is abusing you know that you're going to reach out for help. And Facebook and Instagram, they can't help you. They're gonna make comments, you crazy, you this and that, and this and that. Oh yeah, you're gonna get some clicks and you're gonna get some likes and you're gonna get some unlikes, but it's gonna cause you to lose your life. So you need to pick up the phone and call 1-800-799-7733, or you can call Favor House 850-434-1177. And if you are in the military, you need to call 877-995 5247. And don't don't be concerned about he's going to be put out of the service and this and that. Because if he's in the service and he's got some money, you're going to get you some child support. So, and you can call Jamie's house, 850-291-4622. And if you want to support Jamie's house, it's $ Jamies, JAMIES HOUSE 20. And if you want to be a sponsor of this show, and we will advertise your business, advertise your name or whatever, you can call me or you can call Vernon at the TV station, and we'll be more than happy. Maybe you're having a conference or something and you want to get the word out. You can become a sponsor, and we will make sure that we get the word out. Have a plan. Get you some clothes together, put them up on the house, or even take them to a friend's house. Have your code that you would tell the children so they would know to run next door, to let somebody know if your life is in danger. Get all your paperwork together, birth certificate, children's immunization. Get all that together, your marriage certificate, because you're going to need that when you're applying for, if you're applying for child care or any kind of benefits, you're gonna need all of that. So make sure that you have all your documentation. You can get them together now, put them in a plastic bag. If you need to put them up under the house, you can do so. And if you need any more information or you want to ask me anything, call 850-291-4624. That's Jamie's house.
Okay. Tell them about Jamie's house real quickly.
Jamie's house is not like a house like Favor House. Favor House, you have, some women there and children, more than one. It is more like a family where you can move in. It's already set up. All you have to move in is your clothes, and it's already set up. It's already furnished, and it is for a mom that has children. And I have had a woman there that she didn't have any children, but she needed a place. So I did not turn her down. And this is not a hand out. This is a hand up, because what I realized is that once I didn't have that husband in my life, then I had to take care of myself and my children, which means I had to get a job. I had to get a job. So while you're in that relationship, and he might say, well, you don't have to work. You don't get your job, even if you have to work at home, because they're setting it up so that you could be dependent upon them. Yep. So make sure you get a job. Even if it's a lot of jobs out there that you can work from home. And you can have your bank account. Put the bank account, if you want to put it in somebody else's name so you can have some money. But Jamie's house is a safe place where you can be there and you can get what you need to be able to go on and to be able to make it without being in that domestic violence relationship. And the thing that you have going for you is that you have someone that has been through it. I know all the ins and out. I can relate to you. And not only that, I can help you.
Okay. All right, Carolyn. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on. And I think this is such an important subject, Carolyn, that we just cannot just smooth over in just a few minutes. So we want to take the time that people can understand what's happening. And if you don't get nothing else out of this, y'all, if you don't read the news, you need to start paying attention. The most dangerous time is when you gonna surprise them and they're on your up and leave, or they get served divorce papers. You need to be already gone if you're going to take certain actions like that. We've seen too many times, too many cases that that is completely dangerous. So have your plan. Talk to the professionals. Talk to Favorite House. Go on that. They got hotlines. They got everything. Just Google what you need to do. And more importantly, y'all, if you get nothing else out of this show, don't be silent about it. Let
Yeah.
somebody know what's happening. No more silence, because silence is the fuel that drives abuse.
Yeah.
And
But I also want to say this to the viewers that listen. You might not be going through a domestic violence relationship, but you just don't know how you can help someone. You can help someone by sharing this. If you're on Facebook, share it on your Facebook. Share it with someone. You never know. You never know who might see it,
right,
and you can help them to get out just by sharing the video, just by sharing it.
that's true.
So
That's
make sure
true.
you do that. Share it.
Okay. All right, Carol. Now time is up today. We let folks know that we're on the last Thursday of every month. It's always the last. Sometimes it be the fourth third, and sometimes it be the fifth third, but it's
Yeah.
always the last Thursday of the month. And that you need to tune in, tell everybody. I know everybody knows somebody that's going through this, and they need to hear this. Okay,
Yeah.
they need to hear it. Carolyn, thank you, sugar,
Thank you
and
so much,
continue
Vernon.
continue your counseling. I think that if nobody else heard anything that didn't hear you tonight, it's been 47 years since you was almost killed as a result of domestic violence. Your child succumb to it. Your unborn child succumb to it, that violence. But yet today, you still in counseling as we speak. And so,
Yeah.
folks, don't underestimate the power of counseling. Do what you need to do to maintain your own mental stability. Carolyn, is there anything else before we go?
No, that's it, Vernon. I want to thank you so much. And if you want to, they also can go on and join my No More Silence page. I also put things on there about, the plan and everything, and some things that they can do. So they can join my No More Silence page.
Is
I'm
that
always
Facebook,
putting some
your Facebook
information
page or
on there.
YouTube page?
That's
Is
on
that you
Facebook. I don't know
Facebook?
what happened to my YouTube page, but on Facebook, I'm always updating and telling you what you need to do as far as a plan. If you're going through it, I always give information on my No More Silence page. So you can join my No More Silence page.
Great.
Because
All right.
I don't put a lot of information on my Facebook page, but I do on my No More Silence page.
Okay. All right, folks. Thank you. We'll see you next month. Thank you, Carolyn. We'll see you next month. All
Thank you,
right.
Vernon. Good night.
Good night.